Welcome back to Banger's Bricks, everybody. I'm excited because today we get to start building the Disney castle. I'm excited to get this built, get it put in the Lego City. We have a lot to do, so let's get started. Welcome everybody to the D2C Disney Castle, or also known as Cinderella's Castle, build and review. This set number is 71040, containing 4,080 pieces, standing about 29.5 inches tall and almost 20 inches wide. Since this set is so wide, right, sitting about 20 inches wide, we were able to utilize two 15-inch base plates, as the two 10-inch base plates looked a little squished. So we were able to upgrade to those 15-inch base plates. We already have everything mills plated, so now that we have the base sitting on top and already starting to build some of the towers here, we are able to incorporate this set once it was finished directly into our Lego City, and it was a very easy transition. Now, I will say that I did not include the entire building process within this video, primarily because there are some very repetitive motions within a lot of the columns or tower pieces. So definitely something I wanted to just minimize some of the repetitive builds for this video, so that is why that I didn't include everything. But the box itself did contain 34 total bags with 14 different steps. Now, step 1 alone had about 4 to 5 different bags, so as you go throughout the building process, it does reduce in the amount of bags per step. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is, since it sits about 29.5 inches tall, I really thought it was going to be our tallest Lego set or modular within our Lego City, but the Daily Bugle actually tops that right around that 32-inch mark. So thought that was very unique and wanted to share that, but also wanted to share, as you can see, we really took our time with this build. Throughout the video, you're able to see, my clothing's changing, my kids' clothings are changing. I just wanted to sit down, enjoy the building process, as this is a beautiful set that retired here at the end of 2022. And as I mentioned before, we've only been collecting Lego for about 7 months, so wanted to sit down and enjoy the white whale set of ours. And we are going to do a quick review here of the front and the back and really talk about some of the different references that Disney makes to some of its great movies. Hope you all enjoy. All 4,000 pieces of the D2C Disney Castle are put together, and it looks phenomenal. Now, this set, although there was a decent amount of repetitive build here in some of the different columns, I really thought that this was a fun and unique build. Now, there were so many different pieces that were included in this set, and I really think that with them putting all these different pieces together and some of these different build styles, I really think that it was a cool way to include a lot of different aspects and a lot of different unique things in this Disney set. So let's take a look at a couple of those unique things before we turn it around and look at some of the Disney references on the back. So, of course, up front, you see the 5 different minifigures that it comes with. You see Mickey, Minnie, you have Donald, Daisy, and then you have Tinkerbell up front. A couple unique things that I liked. I really liked the different lamps up here. I really think that these little bucket pieces with the dish on top, as well as you have the little arrow going through with the studs underneath, I really think that it was really cool how they made these lamps, and I think that the brown really sticks out with the different gray and white pieces as well. A couple of the unique printed pieces you can also see up front here. You have the clock that is 5 minutes until it strikes midnight, as well as this printed plate back here. I love the different little stems up here, the different unicorn pieces. I think that these are so unique and so cool to include on some of the tips of the tower. The other thing I wanted to point out here is the fact that you have 2 little firework pieces that do actually fire. You have the red or pink gem and the blue gem on the side here that have a little lever on the back side that you can shoot out, which is super cool. It adds a little bit of a different play feature to the castle. The other thing I wanted to point out that, we'll take a look at in our Lego room as well is you see that the base of the Disney castle doesn't go all the way down to our green plate for our Mills plate. We are going to fix that by adding actually a little crick in here that's going to come all the way around the Disney castle that also comes out the front. And with that, we are going to add some little stone pieces and obviously a little waterway that will help close that gap. So very unique build, a lot of cool pieces, but let's turn around and look at some of the different Disney references. Here is the back of the Disney castle. So, a few of the negative comments I know that I've heard in the past is just how open it is and not necessarily a perfect modularized building. Now, I will say, since we are going to be pushing the backside up against one of our walls in our Lego room, I'm not as worried about it being open, but also, I do actually like that it is open on the backside because I feel like it does a great job of displaying some of the really cool references to a lot of the Disney movies within that realm. So, wanted to go through a couple of those references and just kind of give a high overview of the backside of the Disney castle. So before we do that, I wanted to look at the instruction booklet, as I think the instruction booklet does a great job of just highlighting a little bit of the history behind the Disney castle, showing you the different minifigures as well as seeing their autographs, which I thought was kind of unique, and then talking a little bit more about the references before getting into the actual build instructions for the Disney castle itself. So wanted to take a couple look at some of the references, and the first one was one that I actually almost missed, and that is from the Princess and the Frog, having the two frogs and the crown up front. And then moving our way inside the castle, on the corner here we have carpet as well as the genie lamp from Aladdin. And then making your way into the kitchen, you have the pumpkin from Cinderella as well as the kitchen from The Little Mermaid, and then having the spin wheel up here for spinning some yarn within the Sleeping Beauty. You have reference to Tangled up here. With a lock of hair. There's also a comb in here as well on the backside. This is something that was kind of unique. I thought these are little stud shooters, supposed to be fireworks within the backside here. They do actually shoot. Did not know they actually shot until I tested it out. The other reference up top here at the very top, you can kind of see we have reference to the mirror on the wall and the apple from Snow White. Bringing our way back down here, we have the bed, and then we also down here have the grandfather clock as well as the candlestick and rose from the Beauty and the Beast. I almost said Sleeping Beauty. I had to correct myself on here. And then also the hat, the sorcery hat and book from Fantasia. The last reference I wanted to point out is something that you can't necessarily see from Cinderella without taking this top part here off. And that is the actual glass slipper in here in a little container. So super unique, definitely one of those hidden gems. As you're building, you're like, why am I putting a rooftop on top of this? So that was kind of unique. Oh, almost forgot one. You also have the little target and bow and arrow from Brave as well on the front side here. Honestly, when looking at it, I always, I've seen a couple of videos on it, but keep forgetting that there's so much room in between this little second tier here and just the base from the front. So super cool build overall. Honestly, really enjoyed it. Really loved the different instructions and references to movies. So overall, great build. Super excited to, potentially get another one and put this into our Lego City. The Disney Castle is in the Greenery area and it looks great. I really like the look of it back here. Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do, but let's talk about a few adjustments that we're going to be making here. As I mentioned in our last video, we are going to be running a river or a creek all the way back to the Disney Castle and then kind of branching off on each side that will go all the way back. And then we obviously are missing a few pieces of green plate here. And so once we start tearing up a little bit more of this green plate that I already put down for our Mills plates, we will have a little bit extra to fill in here, as well as getting some half base plates so that we can fill in the side sections here. Now, the reason I want to put a river or a creek back there instead of, a road is I want this to be a little bit more of a secluded area, a little bit more of a fantasy area, right? We have people living in tree houses. We have, our Winnie the Pooh set, our other Disney characters. And I want this to be just a little bit more secluded or, pushed back into the side here. So we are going to be at some point building a fence all the way along the edge, as well as having the creek and having some sort of gate, but also having a few canoes that if somebody does need to access or any of the minifigures need to access the castle, what they can do is they can just hop in a canoe and kind of float all the way back. So super cool. Now within the Lego City, in our next video, we are going to be making some huge changes, and I'm super excited. Let's talk about those changes. The Disney Castle is built, it's put into our Lego room, and the Greenery area looks great. I'm super excited as everything is starting to come together within the Lego City, but
as I'm walking through the Lego room, there are so many changes that I want to make. I love that we have so much room for growth in our Lego city with the second tier, but I'm potentially thinking about taking the second tier unit out that we have straight ahead and utilizing that space for our Hogwarts train. So stay tuned for our next video as we are going to be moving modulars around and making a bunch of changes. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great rest of your week.